Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report. Shockingly so, in the first week of June, coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course, right in front of Clare Court, which will be busier in about 5 weeks. And it's a little gray, and it's certainly grayer than it was yesterday morning, probably making for better visuals, etc. But alongside Seth Merrow, it is Belmont Festival, 4 days via Aqueduct to Saratoga, etc. We are here. Big night in the town last night, so
we'll go to two shot in a minute, I think.
In a minute. Apparently my intro to you wasn't good enough, but that's,
It wasn't the hint.
I'm going to learn, how this is done after 29, 30 years. I'll get the hang of it, but,
It was, it hit your point there. I went down to the concert last night, and it was
looked like a happening.
Oh, it was fun. Blues Travelers down there. There was a couple of acts early. I got there. I had to drive down to Albany to our TV studio yesterday at the end of the day. So I got up to about 8:30. They were supposed to start at 8, but when I got there, somebody said, no, they've just done a couple of songs, and they played till about 10. But the stage was planted right in the middle of Broadway down by the city center, and 2 blocks of wall-to-wall, sidewalk-to-sidewalk people were really making the most of it on what was essentially a gorgeous summer night.
The weather has been fantastic. If you live in the Capital District, I've said this, it did rain on Memorial Day, but the last 2 weeks, except for that window, have been unbelievable. We talked, I think it was on Saturday's regular show, how tremendous the mornings had been. I mean, the dew point was probably about 48 degrees for a week there, and then by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, it was up to it was just priceless. Obviously, we're hoping for good things to happen this week. And I want to, just take a quick pause, because obviously this is going to be a very exciting 4 days, certainly for the two of us and many people. But today's the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And whomever had it on their bingo card that we'd be running live at Saratoga, you win. But it amazes me, and I know that me, with my father, if you don't know Seth's father, if I speak correctly, was a career military man, right? Your dad?
No.
Oh, okay.
But he was in the reserves for until he retired, essentially. But I mean, he had a state job. But every summer he spent a couple of weeks.
Your brother?
He was a career guy.
So obviously deep. A change of life, baby. My father fought in World War II, the South Pacific, everything, and it surprises me. I work with a lot of young people that they see 6'6" and they don't really think of anything, and I find that disappointing. But 80 years, if you've seen on Twitter I was amazed at how many veterans that was 80 years ago
showed up at the.
You have to be theoretically you had to be 18, so that makes you 98.
Right. Yeah.
And kudos to the French.
Although from the stories you hear, some could have been 95 or 96.
No, definitely. Absolutely.
There were kids who were kind of like lying and
I'm going. Absolutely.
I'm over there. I will tout people, it'll come up again next year, and maybe even on Veterans Day or whatever. But Band of Brothers, have you ever seen that? Is one of the best pieces of television ever.
The Pacific is the same thing.
And I haven't seen that one yet. Tremendous. And they've done another one recently that focused on the Air Force, I think. Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. Yeah. But Band of Brothers, it's a series, and like Memorial Day, one of the channels did an all day. If you haven't seen it, watch that. And as far as Saving Private Ryan, I think gives folks, younger folks who may not.
I mean, there's a meme out there. I'm not going to check the data, but the awfulness of the first landers, 80% didn't see the end of the day, and as we drag our son, mostly my impetus, he's seen the beginning, the turning point, and the end of the Civil War and the American Revolutionary War. He goes to a school that he has to march in a parade on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So he's, not by choice, he's dragged into an awareness of it. But so all those out there, and it shocked me that, my math was like, got to be almost 100.
Yeah.
But there are, and
you're referring to, if people haven't seen the pictures, they every year there's a commemoration, but on a decade like this,
at the beach.
and you would think this would be many of those last visit.
I was thinking that next year, because our son wraps up school on May 30th next year, he might get dragged to Normandy, to the beaches, and because there's just some things that you have to see to get an understanding that you can wear a green striped shirt and a purple tie and get paid to talk about horse racing in America because of those folks. Yeah. And it's just an incredible sacrifice they made 80 years ago today. I think it's turned the longest day, right? That's what it's commonly referred to as, the longest day. So all those out there still surviving, and for those who have family members who were there, there's nothing I can say.
It's definitely worth remembering every year.
80 years.
Yeah, crazy.
So did you have an early night last night? For those who don't know, about every 3 or 4 days, we like to bring up Seth's social calendar.
I took a little walk down Caroline Street afterwards, but there was no stop because I had to go home and still had the handicap and had to send the guys. I think I sent the rundown before I went to the concert, but I had to. Speaking of which, 10 o'clock hour should be fun. We're going to be joined by our friend Marshall Graham. It's always fun to talk to Marshall.
Not if I get him off set. You might not get him on set. I'll be tackling him.
An owner with 10 Strike Racing. You see their name in the and he's got a nice horse running today in one of the stakes. A breeder. He's a player. He won the BCBC contest a few years ago. He's always up the board, the NHC and the BCBC. And he's also a college professor in economics and teaches a couple of courses that involve horse racing for his students.
You notice there are numbers involved in what he teaches.
Oh,
it's like he's not teaching.
And if you don't follow his Twitter feed, that's fun as well, where he
I told you he was the first person I saw on track at Santa Anita, and it was early morning. There weren't many people there. He was, if I was there, I'd be the same way. No one's gonna know who I am or something. And I said a line to him that we had over here, and he's like, I said, Marshall. He's like, Jesus, not a moment of peace. He's probably thinking. But.
So it should be fun, and a little bit after that, we'll be joined by Mike Welch. Mike has been here for a couple of weeks doing the normal look at the work.
Now I don't think she knew that I remembered her, but I heard her voice. The Swedish Fish lady was here yesterday.
Kim made the stop over. Kim Weir, who's now with Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga, but she stopped by and greeted us on our first day. And man, they have a souped-up cart. Those Therapeutic Horses.
I saw the front end, and they definitely went to the same delership as Jim Bond.
Yeah,
a different role, but they went to the same dealership.
They're an upgrade from our OTV.
I'll tell you one thing: it's no different than cars. I could just tell by the wheels in the front that it was souped up. I mean, nobody gets wheels like that for an ordinary sedan. Yeah. So you can tell there. Yeah. Is there anything we have to do capital business? Because obviously I can talk a lot.
I don't have my sheet in front of me, so I'll pull it out during one of the breaks.
Obviously,
there are a couple of things coming up. The bankroll team was selected yesterday. I think everybody gets notified today by email if you made the team, and if you did, good luck.
Is that for some this Saturday?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
2,000. He'll play, I think, 500 tomorrow and 1,000 on Saturday. So
did you get your picks in yet?
Yeah.
For Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, I finished that all last night.
I'll do Sunday maybe later tonight, but that's how far ahead we are. I mean, the racing is it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's
what is it? 10 today, 12 tomorrow, 14 Saturday.
Yeah.
I didn't see Sunday. What do you say? It's the New York Breeders there.
Yeah, New York Breeders Day.
Okay, so it's going to be great. We just hope
see if we can get
Mother
Nash
Nature
Thompson
plays
maybe in tomorrow.
Nicely. Ready to get going here in June?
Absolutely.
All right. The rails are up. Reported the Daily Racing Form PPs that I have. 18 feet on both of them, and we're going to kick off the meet. Maiden claimers on the inner going 1:16.
And I looked before, we jumped on here and looked at some of the various Twitter. I didn't see anything referring to the turf. We'll keep looking as the morning progresses.
By the way, that's the cryptic. That's the passive-aggressive cryptic to Mark Henning to let us know what the status is.
I did go to him first.
And
you kind of referred to the weather a few minutes ago, but for folks who aren't up here and don't know, it's nice. I mean, it's cloudy, and there was a little mist in the air. I don't even know if I'd call that a sprinkle. but there's a
No.
little mist in the air. But
No.
currently it's fine. So, I'm knocking wood, but hopefully it sticks at this level throughout the day. Should things move, I have dirt picks on the one sheet at capitolotv.com. So you click on the handicapping link, then click on Handicappers Report. If you've never pulled it up before, a nice printable sheet with our selections. Mine, Anthony's, and our friend Brian Nadeau doing Saratoga during this 4-day session. Opener at Saratoga on the turf. At top of my page, I wrote the AEs are dangerous. The also eligibles. I could have used a few of them. I typically won't use more than one, however, because they need things to fall their way. But I did use one. I went 12, 7, 6, and 5. And again, if some of the others pull in, I would take a look at some of those AEs. But I used the number 12 if there's a scratch. I think Caesar's Ghost becomes interesting. I was a little concerned off the layoff coming back for the tag. But as a 4-year-old, maybe they just got realistic. But I think this horse showed some talent earlier in the career to tilt in that direction. So there is the trepidation, though, the move for the tag. There's certainly trepidation on the outside post position, going the mile and a 16th on the turf. But I'm going to look for that one to maybe sneak in with a scratch. Number 7 in the second spot. I was a little bit, I think this horse is talented as well. I think getting back to the turf could be very interesting. Turf, first time for a tag, first couple of starts of the career, were on the grass last year in maiden special, came back in an off the turfer, and it ran okay. The buyer wasn't great or anything, but I think with that one under the belt and some turf experience, and now a claiming start on the turf, this horse is interesting to me. But I was kind of unfamiliar with the connection, so I'm not sure what to make of that. But at 10-1, we'll put the 7 in the mix. Bookworm probably is the horse to beat. First-time starter for Christophe Clement. Kitten's Joy on top. Dan produced a sibling called Pleasant Passage. That one won the first 2 starts of the career, a mile and a 16th on the turf in a maiden special, and a mile and 16th on the turf in the Miss Grillo. So Bookworm, I think, has some breeding to think that morning line is probably legit. Drunk on Saki, I think, could be a little bit interesting with the bullet work coming in and some equipment changes. So for me, again, on the turf, 12, 7, 6, and 5.
We're a little bit heavier than 3.5 hours for a post on. I'm going to presume, British Sea would be a major player, but you're just, not going to get in. It's hard to conceive the 16.
I'm right with you.
Getting in, and that's what's
because I thought
difficult.
I thought really 13, 14, 15, and 16
right,
if they snuck in. But I don't like to go that deep, and I certainly don't like to use 2 AEs.
Right, you took the second, so that's just where I wouldn't be expecting scratches, and I think when the rails are at 18 feet, this kind of indicates that 10 is the maximum field size because that's how they determine it. But in this case, the AEs are very dangerous, multiples lurking. I'm 164. I'm going to touch on the 6 first. He's the best. There's no doubt about it. David Aragon, Bookworm at 7-5 on debut. I'm just wondering if there's stuff out there, the stuff that I generally would never have any, because that's pretty hefty, even for a maiden. Matter of fact, wouldn't your first thought be why is he in for a tag if he's that strong of a firster? So I looked elsewhere, and you can see I found a horse that nobody's going to find probably. But I'll just tell you, the 1 hours in a day where I'm looking is just on the bottom side. You have Stormy Atlantic, and he's long in the tooth, but he might not even be alive anymore, quite honestly. But he was middle distance turf as a stallion, and I'm on the inside. I have an edge. I'm going to just take a flyer with hours in a day. I took Bookworm, who's debuting for a tag at 7-5, and for third, Fire Baron, the veteran in the group by far, making the 28th career start. But heck, has 7 thirds in here, and I just thought with an inside post position, maybe we can get a small piece. So 1, 6, and 4. I agree with Seth a lot. The problem I had with the first race was that the AEs.
Yeah.
It's basically, this race is like a firster at 7-5 and 4 or 5 AEs that are tough, and that's too many question marks for me. So I took.
It doesn't often happen, but occasionally there are races like that where there are 3 or 4 on the AE list, and it's like I don't know what to do. All right, race number 2 this afternoon. I'm going with Tremont. It's the Tremont, $150,000.
Yesterday was the Tremont. Today we're going with the long E. We're going to get it right one of the days.
2-year-olds going a quick 5.5.
I mentioned this yesterday, but we'll rehash it. I think I'm rather sure Track Baron was the first horse to win the Tremont today. Second career start, off the maiden win. And we have 5 firsters in here. So there's a strong case that somebody might have less seasoning than Track Baron, because now almost everybody wins in the second start. Where'd you go? 5, 6? Yeah, I'm 6, 7, 8. I have no. But the one thing I'll say about 3 Echoes, who Seth has, he's not on my list. My one concern, Seth, is this is the classic Les Well angle for me. And it's going to be a short price. It's going to be, etc. But,
See the favorite? No, Touchy's the West.
5 firsters. So I took Shoot the Nickel, Chad Summers, quality workouts. Second, Touchy, right? Yeah. Wesley Ward, 2-1. I mean, and then the third is one of the 2 veterans in the group. Classic, of course, Patrick B. Cohn's runner, won by a pole. His race was May 3rd, though, so I've had some more time to come back into the flow of it. But, 3 Echoes, the debut was terrific. I mean, in my book, I've said this for years now. I like my horses debuting with like a nice, somewhere between like 70 and 80. Those 95 debut runners don't seem. Remember Pirate last summer?
Yeah.
I don't think Pirate has.
Yeah.
I don't think he superseded that buyer.
Yeah.
I don't think he's won, but I don't think he's had a better performance figure since then. You like the 5?
Yeah, I went 5, 8, 1, 3.
You took the veterans, 1, 2.
But I did a little research in what you said, because as I looked at the field, I thought, how often do first-time starters win this race? And so I went back essentially 5 years, because it wasn't run in 2020. So in 2022, horse coming off a debut victory down at Churchill. In 2021, a horse coming off a second and third for Wesley Ward, Churchill, and Keeneland. In 2019, a horse coming off a debut victory. 2018, horse coming off a debut victory. 2017, horse coming off a debut victory. So at first blush, it seems like.
Well, that's usually my figures from 83 to 94. Every single one except one won in their second career start. I mean, that's the modus operandi.
So it seems like.
Well, that's the move.
At first blush, yes, experience counts. But then I went, wait a minute, let me look at the charts and get this a little. There were no first-time starters in any of those races. This is a real aberration with the number of first-time starters. So I went with the experience of 3 Echoes.
Gary
3
Contessa
Echoes
might have set trendsetter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Steve Asmussen, runner by Echo Town. Echo Town won the Alan Jerkins up here in 2020. And we'll see how he turns out as a sire. Certainly this one boded well in the, if that's a phrase. There was a sibling called Shanghai Posse from the Dam that won the first 2 starts of the career. And this one lived up to it in the debut. So we'll see if he can string a couple together. Classic, of course, also with experience. Nice win down at Gulfstream that I think can be built on. Then Studley do right in the 3rd spot, coming in off a debut victory at Laurel. And again, it was back in 2018, a debut victory at Laurel won this race. So just within the most recent years. Touchy, I will say, from Wesley Ward, is the favorite on the morning line. I'll be interested to see. There's plenty of nice breeding here. There was a sibling, Royal Connection, that won in the second career start. Sibling called Royal Approval for the same connections. Second at Gulfstream, and then they tried Royal Ascot. Didn't do well there. Came back, won at Kentucky Downs, won the Matron at Belmont. So couple of wins in the first 4 starts, and another one, One Giant Leap, same connection, second and debut, won the next 2 starts. So Touchy could live up to that morning line, certainly. But I went with experience in here, 5, 8, 1, and 3.
One thing I should point out, I love statistics. I think most of them that are aired are poor because they don't want to get complex for the audience. But also remember today's Saturday, so it's going to be pronounced Tremont, today's Thursday, is the date on the calendar. This used to be like a July 28th type race. It's now June 4th. So in all fairness, it's really a maiden special weight race. I mean, the calendar dictates that style. I mean, so we're running on June 6th. So the first time starters is not a thing.
It's hard to be at this point and have more than a start.
Right. It would be very rare, except the horses that ran in the Kentucky races.
Yeah,
to have,
early Keeneland.
So I just want to put that out there. At first blush, you go 5 or 7 firsters. It's the stakes race, but the calendar is almost dictating this. So, and the only thing that, I say is, I don't know. I think I've gotten 3 phone calls in the last 10 years, and all 3 of them are right. The competitive edge angle, don't let him in. They let him in. He rocked for Todd Fletcher. All right, on to the third. State Breds, entry-level allowance, right outside our front window here, going 7/8.
7, 2, 5, and 3. I'm going to go Landioro on top. Christophe Clement runner. I just thought it progressed nicely in the first 3 starts of the career. Won the maiden race in start number 2. Buyer figure improved when facing limited winners, but ran second there. Picks up Joel Rosario today with the experience against limited winners under the belt, and now cuts back to the 7. I think there are things to like up at Landioro on top. Caldo Candy in the second spot. Jim Bond trainee. Hard to fault the career so far. 4 times in the money in 5 career starts. A little bit of a layoff. I mean, these days that's not much. Late March, but it was a similar situation. Broke the maiden 2 back, then tried non-winners at 1 last time. Ran well. Now with that experience under the belt, with the number fired, might wind up being the one to beat. Silver Satin in the 3rd spot. Again, nice progression of buyers over the past few starts, but this one just broke the maiden last time. So making that leap to the new condition today. Sometimes it'll take a start or 2 to figure that out, but certainly fits. In the 3rd, 7, 2, 5, and 3.
Take a picture of this. It's not often we have, it's not an exact straight trifecta, but it's not often you'll see the same chicklets up there. I very much like Landioro. He's so far for the 3 days that I've handicapped, he might be one of my favorite horses out of the 36 races that I've done for Christophe Clement. I would sign up for 4-1 right now. Good luck to us getting that. I 2nd and 3rd flip-flop Silver Satin, who in the 3rd career start really became almost a different racehorse. I mean, a real leap forward. So the question you have is, where do we go? Is it a significant regression? I think holding the line is probably good enough to win this race. The good thing is that maiden victory in the 3rd career, first off, was in the 3rd career start, so you figure they have some foundation, and it was in April. So we've had some time. And then Caldo Candy, the one thing I'll throw out is, I'm sure we'll see him in it shortly, but Jim Bond, he's such a good horseman, and he'll take time with the animals, bring him back. I was shocked to see the 61 to 180 layoff. He's 2%. That is a case where anecdotally I would have lost my shirt.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Betting somebody, because his horses come back because he brings them back when they're good, but the data is, tough. 7.52 for me.
All right, I'm going to do the play of the day. Before I do that, I will say the Shakeout show played out okay. I think we're looking good today. Yesterday, somebody came up to me and said, it looked like
I thought you were going to wear that tie on Saturday or Friday. So, we kind of.
Oh, no.
It was
today,
nice, thoughtful,
because of the Melbourne Cup.
It's on. Yeah, I know. It's only here for one day.
I was thinking it was. No, it's today, right?
Is it today? No, you're the one with the data. No, I didn't know.
It's the Belmont Cup today. Yeah.
Okay.
Tie into the Melbourne Cup.
At 2 miles?
Yeah. But yeah, somebody described yesterday as we looked like we were in heaven.
I think what it goes down to is why we do things like that. With kind of a warm-up show, we'll probably do one. I'm not producing the show. We'll probably do one before Saratoga because
I will also compliment. I thought the chicklets look good. We had the little Belmont Stakes logo in there, so thumbs up to the.
We always say at the end of the Saratoga meet, we have the easiest job. It's the people you don't see. The one that's stalking the cameras now for the last 4 minutes. There's a guy down at Albany making sure it comes out. They have the hard work.
And for folks who don't know, we have a monitor right here, so we're looking at ourselves all morning long. All right, I'm going to do my dark horse play of the day before we go to this first break. Moving on to race number 4, the Jersey Girl. As I say, we have Marshall Graham coming up. They have almost gone 10 strike, along with Frank Fletcher, have almost gone rocket. Likely the one to beat. And I originally had that one on top. I went back and forth. And then I put Manama Gold, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, on top. Started the career over in Dubai. Now is here in the barn of Todd Fletcher. This one's a sibling to Overcharge, the Louisiana bred, and this one's a Louisiana bred. The Louisiana bred sprinter, very talented. Overcharge, 14 for 17. Won that really nice stake on Derby weekend down at Churchill. Really gutsy performance. Subsequently won another stake at Louisiana Downs. Overcharge just very good. And so this one being a sibling, 3 for 3 over in Dubai. Now in the Todd Pletcher barn. At 6-1 on the morning line, I'm going to take a little pop there as my dark horse play of the day. So again, dark horse play of the day today. Race number 4 at Saratoga, the Jersey Girl. Number 4, Manama Gold. And again, thanks to our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway and downtown Saratoga, for sponsoring the Dark Horse play today during this Triple Crown season. Always highly recommended you swing by and take a visit. You will be happy you did. Tell them you saw them here on the network. And again, we appreciate their sponsorship of the play of the day. I'm
not dialed into the Louisiana program, but is Star Guitar the King Kong of the Louisiana bred program?
At this point, yeah.
Okay. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, more from the spa.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report, live from Saratoga, our Clare Court location. Day 2 for us, but day 1 as far as the Belmont Racing Festival. So we're diving in. Seth, Merrow, Anthony, Mormino. We're 3 deep so far on the Thursday card. And we move on to race number 4, more stakes action. 4th race is the Jersey Girl, $150,000 up for grabs for the 3-year-old filly sprinters going 6.
I'm 253 here. I will say one thing that I'm expecting to get higher than 5-1 on Roman Grace, because this is a reach for me. This is a horse who's run in the 70s, albeit the high 70s, and we're taking on some runners that are lengths faster so far. But I'm in the 4th career start. You mentioned Echo Town as a young stallion. Echo Town is the son of Spice Town, and Spice Town already has 3 out there, one of which is Munnings, Central Banker, another one. But Munnings has been a terrific stallion. I'm taking a flyer here. I have to tell you, Seth, I'm almost thinking 8 or 10-1 is what I'll be looking at, because they're going to – your dark horse play of the day is 6-5 is my second pick, almost going rocket is, the numbers are prodigious in this field, and she is – an offspring of Into Mischief. And the mare is bound. I'm thinking, was that Claiborne Farms years ago? I think so. Right. So almost going rocket is going to be heck to pay. I think I'm not speaking for you, but many times you see a short price horse in second. For me, I'm kind of saying the race goes through this horse, and I'm looking elsewhere almost always because of price. And for third, Becky's Joker, Gary Contessa's runner. So 2-5-3.
And Becky's Joker was cross-entered, but Gary Contessa said she goes today. So,
and if you don't remember, Becky's Joker was the debut winner of the Schuylerville last year, and she's only making her 3rd career start.
4, 5, 8, and 7, and talked about Manama Gold a couple of minutes ago as my dark horse play of the day, the sibling to Overcharge. And again, I went back and forth, and I put Almost Gone Rocket on top to begin with, and off the first couple of starts, win at Churchill and win at Oaklawn and debut, follow up at Churchill, Both really nice victories. She's the one to beat, clearly. And we'll talk more about her with Marshall Graham in a few. Gray Lightning in the third spot. Comes in from Parks. And if you weren't paying close attention this winter, the Parks Invaders did very well in New York this winter. Now, for me, the waters get a little deeper as we get later in the year, but we'll see. Again, they had a nice winter coming in, the Butch Reed horses in particular. But so far, this one has looked good this season down at Parks, so I'll put that one in the mix as well. I have it 4, 5, 8, and 7.
On to the fifth, State Breds, maiden special weights, dashing 5.5 on the turf.
10, 6, 4, and 1. And again, these are turf selections. I don't really change them up too much on the dirt because Ariana Rye, the dirt form, I thought was okay. So again, 10, 6, 4, and 1 with Ariana Rye on top. Rob Falcone, Irad Ortiz. This one's a sibling to the very cleverly named Dufresne by Uncaptured. So it's the reference to Shawshank Redemption, but that's sibling Dufresne. Debuted running 5th and then won in the second career start. That win was at 5.5 on the turf. So the move to the turf today is very intriguing in start number 3. Ariana Rye on top. In the end, in the second slot, comes off a couple of nice tries and a couple of improving tries down at Monmouth. The improved try was at Monmouth. The start before that was at Gulfstream. Gulfstream was synthetic. Monmouth was turf. Now, there was a turf start at the beginning of the career that wasn't as good. A lot of times that first start, they're just out there kind of getting the experience. So I'm looking at that last turf start as more of what we'll probably get today. And then in the third slot, I'll use the firster from Graham Motion, Summer Whirl. Arrogate on top. There was a sibling called Harmon that took 6 starts to win, but eventually the record 47 starts, 9 wins, 3 seconds, 10 thirds. The other siblings, not as much, but I thought there was a little bit interesting there. And certainly the couple of the workouts look intriguing. 10, 6, 4, and 1.
Do you remember what beat out the Shawshank Redemption for Best Picture?
No, I never. I have to.
You're not an Oscars guy? Or
No, I am very much an Oscars guy, but I'm also a guy who sits there and thinks, hey, Shawshank Redemption, what was that? That was like 8 years ago, right? It's like 20 years ago.
How about 30?
I'm always
See,
way off.
Forrest Gump.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Now, here's another one. You remember who gave out the award?
No.
Pacino and De Niro.
Oh, wow. Oh.
194 for me. Strictly Taboo. I'm on the inside. Not where you want to be, and I have to cut out a trip. I know that I have Joel Rosario. I just felt that there will be others outward that'll have more speed, and I just want a closing kick in here for second. Heart of the Night coming in from California off of 2 starts since March of 23. And for third, Summer Whirl. I see you. I'm expecting good things, whether it's today or in the third career start. I don't know, but I have Summer Whirl, as Seth does, in third. But it's tough to say in a 5.5 furlong dash when you're breaking from the rail. I'm almost expecting the race to fall out good for us, So 194 in the fifth.
Race number 6 this afternoon. We're looking at maiden specials. These are 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and mares going 7 for 1.
Let's see what you put up, and let's see what technology. I am 2-1E. Oh, they cannot. Did you put the entry in, or do you just like the 1?
No, I
okay, we both like the. We'll get to that in a second, but I'll start with the entry. Obviously, the entry is 6-5 on the board. It's the same owners. Todd Pletcher trains both. There's a different listed jock, so maybe they're both gonna run, debut against each other. It's generally not what trainers want to do. I mean, you're almost, you're guaranteed, unless you get a dead heat, one of them's good, the other one's losing. So there's, I think, only a small chance there'll be odds on. I mean, are people going to go hog wild? I mean, these were debut runners. I mean, there's a lot of bullets there.
Nice breeding, though.
All right. So Seth took him on top. The race goes through the Todd Pletcher entry. So I took Shug McGay's debut runner, number 1, Silvology. First-time starter, Offspring of Blame, going 7/8. That's all I got. And for third, I have Neat Trick. making the 4th career start. That does scare me to run well here, but I took a flyer at 12-1 on top, and then you have what appears to be a Titanic firster entry in here.
Yeah, I put the entry on top. Entry 5, 4, and 7, and I prefer Chanteuse. Chanteuse is a sibling to Magnum Moon. Magnum Moon won the first 4 starts of the career, including the 2018 Rebel and the Arkansas Derby for Todd Pletcher. So I prefer that one. The workouts look really good. It's Pletcher with the firster by Into Mischief. Audacious had a sibling called Correctness. The lone sibling to race that I saw ran 5th in debut, but won the 2nd start. So I think there's win early. I prefer Chanteuse, though. But she's wicked smart with a race under the belt. It was last year up here at Saratoga, ran 3rd that day. Ran 3rd to just FYI. So that was a nice race to come out of. 3 of this one's siblings, one in their 2nd career start. So we'll see. She's wicked smart, is intriguing, and then Refused to Lose. Had a sibling called Classic Moment, 3rd in debut, won the 2nd start. So another one, we'll see if we can live up to the older sibling. So for me, in the 6th, the 1 entry, 5, 4, and 7. We'll head to another break. When we come back, we'll continue our look at the Thursday kickoff action to the Belmont Festival meet here at Saratoga. So stay tuned.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course. And I want to say something. If the horse acts up today, we got protection here today, finally. We needed him about 3 years ago when the horse decided to take a little nibble out of the tree to the left of us. And I've been doing this since the first time I was scared. It could have been an issue, but we've been lucky, very lucky through the years. You hate when you hear that sound of the clopping on the macadam out there. That's, oh, boy. Oh, boy. You know, Dino, throw yourself. No, only kidding. On to the 7th race. Entry-level allowance going the dog leg 1 mile on the dirt.
7, 4, 1, and 6. I couldn't get past Ways and Means. I think this is just a confidence builder. And folks may say, you know, this is a horse that has shown plenty of talent for Chad and Klarovich. And why are they going back to the non-winner? So one, $110,000. So I think they're saying, hey, we got a nice juicy purse. We'll get a little confidence builder. So I'll go with Ways and Means. Ms. Sense in the seasonal debut showed some promise last year, winning the seasonal debut, the traditional Saratoga meet very early on. And then they tried to spin away at the end of the meet. And it was, you know, they lost the jockey. And so draw a line through that. But now the comeback effort, that could be intriguing here today. And then Do-Gooder in the 3rd spot, Jenna Antonucci, last year's Belmont Stakes winner with Arcangelo. She brings this one in off a couple of stakes down at Churchill. But more importantly, that nice little bullet workout, to me, says this horse is going to be very, very live in here today. So I have it 7, 4, 1, and 6.
I'm 7, 5, 1.
I wondered if you would go against the Ways and Means.
I tried. Trust me, I looked find a place. The one thing that I'll begin my comment on, her worst figure, which was in the spinaway, the second career start where she had some issues in her second start at Grade 1 company. That figure she received, which was an 83, just is better than any horse has produced in the field. And I don't know how often that happens on a daily basis, but I'm thinking not too often.
No, you're right.
The entire field, her worst. And I'm going to say something else. It's not like somebody else ran an 82. It's like her best is, I don't know, like her worst is like 2 lengths better. So it's ways and means. And the thing that I'll say is I also think maybe at this point in your career, shorter might be better. I'm not saying that the offspring of Practical Joke down the way, 9 furlongs won't be a thing, but it's the mile today. Ways and means for me. Wesley Ward sends out the 5 second start since February, first time versus winners. And then I'm with you with Do-Gooder as they add blinkers. But 7-5-1. And
she is facing older for the first time, so you can make some arguments with that.
That's a good point. But as I'm looking at this set, at least half the field is 3-year-olds, right? So
and the older ones are nothing.
Yeah, so she got
special.
It's the type. One of Seth things that Seth has asked for years is if no elders show up, could we get some type of designation? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You couldn't really do that for this unless you follow the day-to-day, make your own notes. Yeah, 3-year-olds, the up arrow, and you put this the elders might not be the King Kongs in the race.
Yeah. 8th race this afternoon. Again, we're scheduled for the turf, and at this point, it's cloudy and there is a mist. But I'm just looking out; nobody is ducking, so maybe even the mist has stopped at this point.
Dino just went for a walk. He's not shaking
completely
himself
dry,
off.
and he seems to be indicating nothing currently. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll knock on wood. 8th race scheduled for the turf. Maiden specials going 1 mile and 1/16.
So on the Mellon, the full field with the rails up at 18 feet is 12 for 1 mile and 1/16. I'm 6-7-1. We agree. Film Academy making the first start since late January, an offspring of Oscar Performance, who is darn good as a stallion. We don't often talk about, horses that make their bones for turf runners, but boy, almost half the racing, from May to October in New York is turf racing. So let's get on board. Romantic Charmer from the portable rails. I would almost said the hedge, but that's not accurate. Makes the turf debut for the offspring of Mendelssohn. Now, the grandsires, to me, are both turf. Yes, I know Scat Daddy produced a Triple Crown winner, and I know Langfjord won the Forgo, the Carter, and the Met Mile, but I think of those as very strong middle-distance turf stallions, and then all good here. Christophe Clement's making the first start since the Spa of 23, 6-1-7.
I went 6-2-7-9. I thought the 3 was maybe a little bit intriguing as well as a firster from Dave Donk. There was a little bit of breeding there if you want to take a shot at the 3, 15-1. But I put Film Academy on top, New York bred, and this is a New York bred race. But more importantly, comes up from Gulfstream from Mark Casse. So it's facing the Open Company down there. I think the return to New York off the numbers fired down at Gulfstream, I think this company is going to suit him well. Artful Dreamer goes out for Barclay Tag and our friends at Saratoga. I've run into Jack Knowlton a couple times already this week, Monday at the draw, and he was at the seminar Tuesday night at the museum. They were one of the sponsors, and I was talking to Jack, and they've got a few in this weekend, and I think he likes it. It sounded like he liked maybe some of the later ones a little bit better, but I think Artful Dreamer, to me, there's a sibling called Cupid's Heart that won 3 of the first 4 start, another sibling called My Man Maddie, that won the second career start. This one's 2 starts into the career, hasn't gotten it done yet, but moves to the turf, stretches out. I think there's some change up here with a horse with a little bit of early breeding. Munning's on top. That it might make this horse a little bit intriguing at a decent price. All good here in the 3rd spot for me. Again, siblings, executive office, second, and then 1 in the 3rd career start. Thinking it over, won the debut, albeit all of those were on dirt. This horse was in an off the turf for a last time and didn't look that good. So I think returning to the turf will be significant. But that off the turf for the last start was July of last year, right here at Saratoga. But comes back first time gelding symbol. So could be a little bit interesting on the return. And Christoph Clement is okay off a layoff. So 6-2, 7-9.
And let it be noted, Mr. Director, that for the first time ever, I am way ahead of schedule. We had 2 races left. We'll be right back.
It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your #1 choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course. We are in front of Clare Court, which will be buzzing in early July when we return to the set, but very quiet.
And it's great to be here in the morning and having the horses in the
tremendous.
background. I remember Randy Moss from NBC was in here one time. He's like, "You got the best set in all of horse racing here. The horses are working up here." Yeah. Let me just jump in.
Yes, please.
Because I said I would alert people to the promos coming up. And this week, tomorrow, Friday, the Bounty Bet returns. The Bounty Bet will be the late pick 5 right here at Saratoga. Nice little chunk of change up for the Bounty. If you've never played it before, all you have to do is play that late pick 5 tomorrow here at Saratoga. Play it with your Capital OTB bet account, and you get a shot at the Bounty. If one person hits, and you're only playing against other people playing via Capital OTB bet, if only one person hits, hey, you collect the pick 5 payoff, and you get that $1,400 plus. So keep that in mind for tomorrow. Bounty Bet, late pick 5 right here at Saratoga. You got to play with your Capital OTB bet account. And don't forget, if you aren't making it up here to the track, Saratoga, on Saturday for the Belmont Stakes, love to have you join us at the Clubhouse Racebook. And there's going to be a match bet promotion down there. So a little extra fun. You can enjoy all the racing and the match bet promotion for a little extra money, perhaps, on Saturday. And don't forget, you go down, you enjoy all the racing action. And I was down in the race book again yesterday at the end of the day. I talked to the folks, the Black Bear, and they're set. They're set for a big day with the staff and whatnot. And they have a great menu, our new food vendor. So you can go down, grab a little lunch, and have a fun day down at the Clubhouse Racebook on Saturday.
We're a little bit ahead of schedule. So I was trying to send it off air. It's like, I cannot wait. I have not been on the first floor Clubhouse.
Oh, I was there yesterday.
And I have to say, usually folks are very protective about touching things that are endeared to them, especially things that have been around since the Civil War. But I have to tell you, I think everything that I saw on people that took pan shots is glorious.
Yeah.
I don't have vision of, move the wall over here, do this. But I'm telling you, I cannot wait to get over the first floor Clubhouse.
It's like a complete redo of
and
it's
you would not be able to
nice.
Explain the old thing to somebody who comes up for the first time this week. You couldn't explain it.
What I was worried about, because I'll stand there a lot, walk out of the paddock and stand there, and a lot of owners and trainers stand there, and there are monitors. The first shot I saw, those monitors, the monitors are still there. So there will still be people standing there, but the Jim Dandy bar is now kind of open air and right there. The wall of mutuals has been upgraded, and there's a little grill area for food at the end. It's very nice.
And
I get it. I get people like the tradition at Saratoga. But I mean, if you look back, it's just you kind of have to march with time. It used to be fun to look out at the board when they pulled up the scratches in the infield. That disappeared. The old chalkboard in the grandstand that had the results on it and the scratches. You'd have to go over and look at that for your scratches as well. Somebody, was up on the second floor. Somebody would come out after every race with chalk.
The little walkway, catwalk, whatever they called it for that.
And I kind of missed that, but we move on. And so,
what I did like, and I just took a look. It looks as if now the cashiers don't look like they're doing time in jail anymore.
Yeah,
it's like other racetracks, Laurel, Keeneland, where it's open. It doesn't go to the ceiling.
It has
it's very conversational.
The actual facade
for the 8 people that still use a teller. You're right. So I can't wait. I think they've done because I in those meetings and everything, it must be very tenuous.
I'm sure
when you're like, but they hit a home run.
Supposedly, they've also added to those verandas, which I've never.
The what?
The verandas at the top of the stretch.
Okay, I'm familiar
which are kind of like corporate, not the stretch area in the grandstand.
Okay.
At the top of the stretch, past the grandstand.
Oh, outside the building?
They've had some buildings that are kind of corporate areas. You can go there with a group, and you're right on the rail at the top of the stretch. But I guess they're popular enough. They added 4 or 5 of those this year.
Well, that's outstanding.
But that whole that grandstand area, which most days, if you're standing over here, you'd look over, nobody'd be there. The upgrade down there was.
Oh, I will say this: it's a very enjoyable day at the top of the stretch when Denise and I. It's another home run. I mean, they've done very good. On to the 9th, 2-year-old fillies, 5.5. The Astoria.
3, 8, 9, and 7. I put French Horn on top. The dam won the Grade 1 Prioress for Alan Jerkins back in 2012. So there's a little bit of interesting breeding here, and she lived up to it in the debut for Mark Casse. Mark Casse, boy, last year he got off to a great start up at Woodbine with his 2-year-olds. He's kind of continuing it this year. This was one of those. The situation is going to be, how's this horse going to transfer from the synthetic at Woodbine to the dirt here? But with the breeding, I think comes in with a nice bullet workout. I think French Horn is very intriguing this afternoon in the second start. The Queen's MG going out for Safi Joseph now off a trainer change. Debuted at Keeneland. Those Keeneland 2-year-old races are kind of salty, so I would think this one will be okay. And then Long Neck Paula for Wesley Ward. Hey, Wesley Ward with a 2-year-old sprinter. Enough said there. 3, 8, 9, and 7.
And Uncle Mo, that cost $500,000. I have him for third also. Here's my man, Earl Campbell, 3rd in a mile. That's what we're calling on. I'm 5-2-9. Just another race where I'm just taking a flyer here in the realm of 2-year-olds, and a lot can change off the debut. And Brittany Russell sends out Biscuit with the Boss. I don't if that's a saying. I'm not familiar with it. So on debut was not the favorite at 2-1. Caught an off-going, scored a victory. I just was like thinking got all the worst of it in early May. We're going to be a big price in here. I'm taking a flyer. For a second, I have the Deuce, Steve Asmussen's horse, won on debut. And, it's one of the very, very good jobs by the Daily Racing Form. These restricted maiden special weight races coming back in the PPs. And for third, I have Long Neck Paula, who I have to tell you, I almost have as the horse to beat, but I'm very prone in the early season, especially at the traditional Saratoga meet. I'm like, so much changes, so much when usually debut winners, much goes your way, and then it doesn't go your way with the price. So I'm 5-2-9 in the Astoria, which I have to tell you, I think is wide open. I know there's a 2-1 shot that I think could be tough, but I think it's wide open.
10th race this afternoon. We wrap it up with the Belmont Gold Cup. Bring your sundial. It's 2 miles. Mentioned it yesterday. This is a win.
2 laps.
When you're into the Melbourne Cup, and as you suggested, I looked up my tie that you brought me from. Thank you very much, from Australia. I'm not sure who's going to pick up the mantle and make the trip over there if they win this, but I think it would be fun if they did. But again, 2 miles, Belmont Gold Cup, Grade 2 event, $250,000 up for grabs.
Well, I would say, having now been to Flemington, I would do it. If it's a free invite, I'm there. It's beautiful. It's in a beautiful part of town. It's a beautiful setting. It's going to be, that's their middle part of spring, going towards summer. So I went in late January for the Australian Open, and that's summer for them. The young people are on summer vacation, but I would go. I mean, if for any of these connections, owners, trainers, the horse, I'm picking up the invitation. I'm 9-12-6. I'm actually shocked we have anybody in common here. I just, 4-turn race at Saratoga. I don't recall saying that. Maybe since James Boswell set the course record about 40 years ago, but 6-. I don't know if that's for golf or if that's a Calvin term. I don't know. But English Channel, going a distance of ground. I just, I have Irad Ortiz at 15-1. I just, these races are quirky. You might be 53 to the half, the first half. It's going to be wide open. I would really like to sit with somebody that takes the chalk, but then I have Sid Scanny. I'm taking a shot. Charles Appleby. This is one way for me. It's an offspring of Dubawi, who I was on board with before most folks. And then Champagne Juan, the 6, an offspring of Justify. Joel Rosario, great finisher. 9-12-6 in a race set that I don't have much of a feel. I'm intrigued by it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm intrigued to get.
I'm right there, too. The 2 miles just makes it a puzzle as well. But I went with Starting Over. He's, done some marathon races and done it successfully, including earlier this year, 1.5 miles and 1 3/8 for Mike Maker. Mike Maker's very good, distance on the turf. Pioneering Spirit for Linda Rice, I think, is intriguing. Go down the page. There are a couple of 1.5 mile races, and I think this one could be a little bit of a player if that morning line holds up at some value as well. And then, Siskany won the race last year, so why not put the Charlie Appleby horse right in the thick of things again today? So 10th, the Belmont Gold Cup, 5, 10, 12, and 11.
All right. That wraps up. We got to come up with a clever name for this, but day 1 of the festival.
Somebody did it say, keep it simple. I thought this was pretty good. Bonus Saratoga.
Saratoga Extra, but I think that's a newspaper. I like Saratoga Extra.
That's a good too.
But it's, for those of us that started with 24 days, it's just, we're up to 44. We haven't quite doubled it, as we've tripled my age, but we're, doubling the racing days. And it now seems as if it's getting even nicer. So come on up if your schedule allows for it. It's going to be 4 fantastic
Unfortunately,
days.
getting nicer is not helping our mesh back here. But
well, that's how it goes. We'll figure that out sometime. He stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy day 1 of Extra Saratoga.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.